Congratulations, you found the one station that plays Ghana's best urban music.
I like to come up with a song on the radio.
YFM.
Listen to YFM 107.9 Accra, 102.5 Kumasi, and 97.9 in Takoradi.
Today's Wiley the Board series is going to be a special one because Ganji knows my guests. Your records are plenty, Adjoa. Lawyer, how do I address you?
Adjoa.
Adjoa is fine.
Nothing more.
Okay, so my DJ is usually on the side, handling the music, but today for the first time, he's decided to get into the interview. So maybe he might also have a few questions for you. But guys, we're doing this together. If you have a question for Adjoa, she's here with me. Of all the things that I mentioned about her, if you have anything in there you'd like to find out, any questions for her ahead of time, she's spending the entire day with us. As a matter of fact, send it through WhatsApp 020222270. But don't forget, we're streaming live on Facebook. If you're joining us now, make sure you click on the what's the name? Share button. Share that and let your friends and family also join in. But the hashtag is Y Leaderboard Series. Now, Adjoa, how do you feel sitting here and listening to me mention all these things about you?
There's still more to be done.
There's still more to be done, right?
I'm happy with what the Lord has done, what has been accomplished thus far, but there's still more and more and more to be done. Actually, when you were reading, I was in my head, I was like, okay, so in the next 2-3 years, when this is being read, this should be part, that should be part.
Add a few things.
There should be more things in there. So there's still more. There's still much more to do.
Let's backtrack to a few years ago. I wouldn't want to go far. 16 years ago, did you ever see yourself coming this far, achieving all these things? Was it a constant plan? A conscious plan, or it happened, as people say, like it fell in line?
So I didn't see myself, especially with the Folklore Board, I didn't see myself there. But with the trajectory and with what has been accomplished, I would say most of my secondary school mates are not surprised. Yes.
What kind of student were you back in senior high school?
It depends on who you ask. Okay. So the teachers would say I was studious, the kind of student who likes to ask questions. The class wouldn't like that because sometimes you drag the class back.
Or put it too much.
You'll be asking questions. They're like, oh, we want to close. And then this girl is still asking questions. But I was quite studious, still affable. I was the kind that when we're given work as a group, I would, even if I haven't been nominated to be in charge or the leader, I would still rise to the occasion to ensure that we do the work. So that's the kind of person I was. And I say I am. And that has impacted my work ethic and everything I do going forward, from work to home to family to everything. It's impacted it.
Did you play sports? Were you involved in entertainment, any of those things?
So I had the potential. I should say that I was a potential athlete, but unfortunately, it wasn't well harnessed. I had a bad accident when I was in primary school. Not very bad, I'm exaggerating, but I remember the pain. We were doing backflips, and I was doing so well that the PE teacher, may he rest in peace.
Wow.
Thought that he would support you to do the backflip, but he thought I was so good that if he just takes his hand out, he doesn't support me, I'll still be able to do the flip. And I fell, and I think that impacted the way I saw sports. I felt like it's something that you get hurt regularly, so unfortunately I didn't pursue it. But in secondary school, anytime we ran, I was good at running. Yes, but now I ran out of breath.
Which secondary school?
Tema International School.
Okay. Did you have any nicknames?
Oh dear, I won't mention them because I didn't like them. There was one, so there was a book called Songs of Lawino, and it's about a lady who had a sharp tongue. So I was nicknamed Lawino. In the sense that yes, I was one of the students that you call on to perform, not perform during entertainment, but perform, let's say, a poem or the likes during speech and prize.
Giving Day.
Giving Day. So that was one of my nicknames. I didn't like it, but that was one of them.
Now tell us a little bit about your upbringing. What kind of home did you grow up in? Where did you grow up? I'm guessing Tema.
No, I'm actually a Comerican.
Oh,
as we've been tagged now. I don't really like the name, but so I'm a Siano. That's what they call us. So I was born in the UK, but we moved to Ghana. So when I was 7 years old, so I keep on telling people when I went to Italy, and then they're like, "You speak very good English." Oh yeah. Oh, then they find out that I hold a UK passport or something. They're like, "Oh, that's why you speak good English." No. I'm like, "No, I don't have any I don't have any ties to the country, to be honest. I speak
you learned everything
the way I learned everything here." So when we moved here, I was in Kumasi. I lived in a very typical setting. I was living with, not that typical, but for Ghana, I guess it is. I lived with my mother, and my grandparents were very instrumental in my upbringing. And with us, those of us who are maternal and the inheritance system, we also have uncles playing a very huge role. So my uncles also played a very impactful role. If you are my friend and you don't know about my uncles, or you haven't heard me complain about them telling me or pushing me to do something, then you are not my friend. So that's the kind of upbringing. I don't think we lacked anything. We were blessed and we had a good childhood.
Siblings?
Yes, so I have two siblings.
Two siblings.
Yes, I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
And I have a sister and a brother. So one of each. So I've experienced the females and then the males.
Do you remember picking inspiration from any adult figure, any personality growing up, somebody you looked at and said, "Okay, I really want to be like this person"? What about them inspired you?
So unfortunately, I've forgotten her name, but there was this. It's an Indian lady. I've forgotten her name. I'll check. She's very popular. It starts with a B. But I read a book about her, and the fact that she was able to impact her generation, impacts the lives of those around her, that inspired me. It doesn't matter what you are given. It doesn't matter how small the opportunity you are given. It's what you do with that opportunity. And I got that inspiration from her. It doesn't matter. With the Folklore Board, some actually asked me that, did the president create the institution for you? Because a lot of people did not know about it. And somebody put it that you turned a non-job into a job.
Wow.
And that's how I was happy when the person said that, because that's my philosophy. Create an impact wherever you are. Whatever you are given, create an impact. Use it to impact lives. Use it to create change. And that's what impacts me.
That's what has been moving you since. I love that. I can really relate to that. I mean, create your space and then make something good out of the little that you have.
Exactly.
And so much that people will now start asking, has this been there for a while? You tell them, yes, it was there. But then when my impact fell on it, yes, it expanded.
Exactly.
All right. Now, was there a career path you dreamt of, charting growing up around that same age? What did you want to become?
I wanted to be a lobbyist. Then I was told that in Ghana, we don't have lobbyists.
Tell me about it. For a lot of my listeners who don't know what a lobbyist is.
So in the US and the likes, we have people who actually are trained to speak on behalf of big companies, big corporations, and actually change policy direction through their lobbying efforts. So an example is even with the menu or the statutory menu of schools, to have corn as part of the menu for kids, or the dietary plans of kids. Lobbyists, so the corn farmers hire lobbyists to go and lobby to have it placed on the statutory menu requirements for schools. So these are some of the things lobbyists do.
So pretty much like middleman agents-ish.
politician, all rolled into one. The closest to it now, I should say, would in our context would be a politician. That's the honest truth. Yes, or a lawyer too, in some sense, but a lawyer who works with the government. Yes, a lawyer who works with the government to change policy. That's the closest I can put it.
And so at what point did you realize, okay, this might not really happen, and so make we take past the side?
Yeah, so it was when I started looking at universities, and I kept on saying I want to be a lobbyist because I want to be able to, it'd be nice to change people's minds and then shape policy and then also contribute to social development. And then I kept on hearing that, please, in Ghana we don't have lobbyists, so you have to look for something else. And then in school I was very good at economics. I took the economics prize. I think throughout my stay there, I was the best economics student. So then my mom studied economics in university. So I was like, okay, maybe I should do economics, but I hate maths. So
I'm sure you hate ADMAS. Not just the main one.
Even the maths.
The main one you don't like.
The maths,
wow.
I don't like it. I tried so much. I studied so much for my maths exam, and then I still didn't do well. I got a C. So I was very upset.
Hey, the C is not well.
Oh, no, it's not.
I see your level of umbrella.
Hey, no. I can't tell because I didn't go to the mainstream. I don't know if I would have been selected for umbrella if I had gone to the mainstream. But based on that, my grandfather, may he rest in peace, pulled me aside and said, Adjoa, umpe maths. So, Adjoa, you don't like maths. So how can you do this maths? You know me, I like lawyers. So maybe consider law. And that's how my grandfather inspired me to do law. I didn't know I would love it as much as I did when I entered the classroom and started studying it. But I realized that with law, you can do anything because there's law in everything. So it cuts across so many fields, and it was one of the best decisions that I took. Yes.
Now, do you believe in fate?
Well, I'm a Christian, so not fate per se, but God's design. So yes, I believe that God, everything that happens for a reason.
He has a plan. He has a blueprint.
Exactly. There's a blueprint. You make decisions, and maybe the decision you take may not be in line with the Lord's plan, but He still knows the end from the beginning. It's complicated, but the more you think about it, the more you would veer off your Christian beliefs. So it's better to accept it as it is.
I think that will be a conversation for another time. I definitely hope we get you here for another time. Now, what set of values as a young lady carried you through your years till now? Before you entered into your stage, the stage where you started deciding for yourself, what were the values that you picked? For the sake of my young ladies locked in now, what were the values that carried you through your childhood into your adulthood?
Okay, so one, don't take what does not belong to you. I think my mom drummed that into us. So with it guides you. Though if it means don't take what does not belong to you, it means you should be principled. Not only just stealing someone's property, but even with work. If don't try to, downplay somebody's efforts in order for you to advance. There are certain things that you just don't do, and be principled. There are certain things I just will not do and will not compromise on. So have your set of values. Everyone has their value system. As a Christian, you have your values, but it's not everything in the Bible that we comply with.
That's true.
But have your own value system and make sure you follow that.
All right, let it guide you. Pretty much. Anyways, now let's walk through your career after studying. So you did KNUST, you did economics.
No, so I did law.
You did law in KNUST, and then you came to the Ghana School of Law. So take us through the process, okay? How were your days like in KNUST? How did you manage to get in there? How was the grading system back then? I mean, take us through every bit of that stage, and then we'll branch to Accra, Ghana School of Law with that as well.
Okay, so coming from Tema International School, so there it's an international school, so of course we didn't have the things were a bit different from going to KNUST. Most of my friends decided to stay in hostels from the beginning, but I decided to stay in a hall. I was in Republic Hall.
Report?
Yes, Report Green.
You've been an entertainment person since, because that hall, dear, you know for sure anybody at least once a year.
Once a year, dear, you will turn up. Yes, it's true. So with at Report, it was quite difficult, to be honest. The bathrooms was an experience. I remember I would complain every morning before going to the bathroom, but it was a great experience. I met so many people, and I think it shaped me, because coming from an international background, with people living in privilege, even though I didn't see myself as that, and to be honest, I don't think I'm Dadaba or anything, but of course, when you come from an international school, that's what you're seen as. Yes, but I think I was able to interact with a lot of people. Law is not easy. Law is seen as a privileged course, so even those of us who studied law were seen as privileged ones. Yes, but I was able to interact with a lot of people from all walks of life, and I'm so happy that I stayed at the hall. Yes, so my experience was a very interesting one. I enjoyed the attention from the guys. It was fun. Yes, sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh, this was fun. And sometimes I remember when there are guys seated in front of your hall and you're entering the hall, you keep on thinking, how am I going to walk? Are they going to be staring at me? And these are all trivial things, but in university, that's what's important. Even the food, where you eat, the food you eat. I was discussing with my husband and I were in school together, university together, and he was just saying that in university I was richer than you, because I used to buy the good food and then you will come and share it. We were just friends, so it's not like he was spending on me. It's just that's how it was. Yes, so it was a fun experience. And no worries, you should immerse yourself in the university experience.
Enjoy the experience.
Enjoy it, but know that everything you do, there's like I'm watching Big Brother now, so I'll say Big Brother is watching. So you shouldn't do anything that, if it comes up later, you regret.
I mean, you should be responsible.
Exactly.
Yeah. Bear in mind that whatever it is that you're doing has an impact. Exactly. And you should be ready for the results.
Exactly. There are consequences for everything you do. So there's some things that people did in university that's haunting them now. So just enjoy the experience, have fun, but you should also be responsible.
Wow. And so after KNUST, you went to Ghana School of Law.
Yes.
I mean, you were prepared for the journey already. I
wasn't prepared. That, as I told you even before the interview, we had, before we went on air, we had to write an entrance exam.
And that was the first time.
And that was, I'm still not sure if yes, I think it was the first time. It was the first time. So we didn't know what to expect. And I was an intern at a law firm. I did my national service at Kulendi at law. He's now Yoni Kulendi, a very, very good lawyer. And now he's a justice of the Supreme Court. And I went to court and listened to a case, the judgment for a case, because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the law. So even my senior wanted us to leave, and I begged him that, I want to listen to the judgment for this case. And that's what I used to answer my question 3. In the exam.
In the entrance exam.
In the entrance exam.
Wow.
So I keep on saying, if I had not sat in court that day, I wouldn't have passed the exam. So it was a very taunting time because a lot of your friends didn't pass. You go to law school and then there's a new set of people that you have to interact with. You have to make new friends and the likes. And I used to study. In law school, I was one of the most studious. But sometimes hard work does not pay off as you expect it to be. I actually did better in the university than I did the law school. I used to go to school from 7 a.m. and come home at 10 p.m. almost every day in the law school. But I wasn't happy with the results I got. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't put in the effort, because even though you may not have gotten the marks, there are certain things I learned. Maybe there's some discipline that I learned that will help me later. So it's not easy, but everything is doable, and you just stick to your goals and don't lose hope.
And so at the end of all this, you are called to the bar. That's what you call it, right?
Yes. So I was called to the bar. I became a lawyer, and then I started my pupillage at JLD and MB Legal Consultancy, and the law firm has mostly females.
Okay.
That's why I chose the firm.
Okay. Because
when you're in law school, you hear so many times that women, when they start the law, then they'll go and give birth, and then they don't, continue. So I decided that I'm going to look for a firm that's very good, and it's one of the top 5 firms in Ghana, especially when it comes to corporate legal practice. So I decided to join the firm. I had a wonderful experience. After that, then I went to Italy for 6 months. There was a competition for lawyers, female lawyers in Ghana, and 2 of us were selected.
To go and represent?
So after the competition, 2 of us were selected to go and work in Italy. So I had
so that was like the reward?
Yes, you can say that. The experience of working in Italy was the reward. So I was able to intern in Italy for 6 months. It was a wonderful experience. I immersed myself in the culture. I made Italian friends that I still speak to. The managing partner of the firm, one of the firms I worked at, came for my wedding. So that's how close we are. And it was a wonderful experience.
Did you learn the language?
Poco.
To bene.
Oh, very little.
Because if you had told me you're very good with it, I would have called my programs manager right now. He's Italian, so he's our Italian correspondent. Anything Italian, we'll just call him. But you went to Italy for 6 months. This was you, a young, a budding lawyer. You have a lot of opportunities out there. Why did you decide to come back? Honestly, I know it's a question people want to ask you, but I want to find out why you decided to come back to Ghana. You would have had different opportunities out there.
A lot of people ask this question. I remember when I was there, why are you coming back? Home is home. I keep on saying that I don't think there's any reason why I'll relocate to another country. Yes, unless the opportunity is such that it will help me develop enough, or it will add such value to me that I would come back and impact the nation. I feel I want to impact everything I touch. I want to impact it, and socially, so I want to sustainably impact generations. So why should I do that abroad? No, it's better to come home and make the impact here. So anything that takes me away, I would still come back. But it was a wonderful experience. I visited about 10 countries during that period, because with Europe you can, right? Exactly, so you can travel everywhere, and I really enjoyed myself.
Italy is a beautiful place. I've been there once.
It's amazing. Malpensa, that's in Milan.
That's in Milan. Yes.
So Malpensa is yes, it's in Milan. So I was staying in Milan.
It's a beautiful place. The breeze there is different. I remember, before that, I never really had a lot of good reviews about Italy. My friends that had traveled there and so when I had the opportunity of going there, it was actually I call that a mistake trip. Because I wasn't supposed to go to Italy. I got on the wrong Emirates flight. And then I landed there, and then they decided to, I spoke to them, I decided to stay for 2 days. And so it was a fun 2 days. I remember calling my programs manager, telling him, hey, your place is nice. So if you want to set up another YFM here, I wouldn't mind coming. Beautiful experience. And then you came back after the 6 months, and what was the plan? What did you get into after that?
So after the 6 months, I went back to the law firm. But I decided I went back to the law firm, and then I realized that yes, I enjoy the law, I enjoy legal practice, but I want to also try something new. So I started, there was an option to travel, also to get another experience, working legal work, but in another jurisdiction. And then I was appointed to the board of the National Folklore Board. So I was just a board member, But when I started working there, then I realized that there's so much potential. So this is an institution that has been established to protect our folklore.
Yeah.
It's an institution that has the legal right, or people are supposed to legally mandated to come for permission from this institution when they use our folklore. But that's not what is being done. People don't know.
People are still doing what they do.
People are still doing what they do. So this is such a beautiful opportunity. The board sat down and we realized that if we want to make the impact we need to make, we need one of us to actually take up a more active role in the institution. So I was then appointed the acting director of the institution, and then that's when
everything shut off.
Everything shut off. So it wasn't a plan. There was no plan as to me going into the folklore board and subsequently even becoming more frontline of a politician. But that's how it went. It started, and I'm so happy that it set off in this trajectory because it's been good.
You mentioned one very important thing, and I want us to delve a little bit deeper into that. How important do you think it is for young people, young professionals, to widen their scope of engagements, especially in our ever-changing space? You were a lawyer doing your thing, and then the opportunity came for you to enter a new space, and then you took it up to learn and engage yourself in a wider scope, in the course of what you're doing. How important do you think it is for young professionals in banking, finance, health, to branch into other things? It's
so important, and I'm happy with our generation, because now what we call a side hustle, it seems everyone has a side hustle, and it's very important because trends are changing. You don't know when what you're doing won't be relevant anymore, or you don't know when you'll be tired, or you've reached the peak of your career in that sector or industry. So it's very important. My CV is very diverse. Sometimes some employers, I went for an interview once, and the employer was like, so with everything you've done, are you sure you'll be able to sit down and do this desk job for a long period? And the person said, when the person said it, I thought about it, that they still took me. That's it. But I rejected the offer. So it means initially when he said that, I was a bit worried. Yeah, you thought it was like it was sort of like a bad sign, but you realize it's actually a plus for you. It's actually a plus because, of course, with the diverse, everyone wants some sort of one-stop shop. So if I can get somebody who has experience in different fields and can contribute to my business, that would be a better thing to do, a better person to employ. So it's good to try different experiences. It's good to take up opportunities. It's not only about the money. Sometimes just take up internship opportunities. When I was in university, I interned. I was part of ISEC. Yeah. So I went to Germany. I went to Cologne. Okay, yes, exactly. So I was in Cologne for, I think, 3 months. And I had a nice experience there. I met a lot of people. I interned in Nigeria, for instance. That's also an experience. I worked with a cinema. So these are all you've done everything, things that not everything. I said there's still more to do, still much more to do. But these are all diverse experiences that will come to bear eventually. And even sometimes you use it, but you don't know that you're using it. Exactly. I'm doing my master's in peace, gender, and security. That's totally different. Wow. And it's because I think it's very important. When you look at security, we usually think it's firearms and the likes, but security has to do with even your job security. It even has to do with just your family. Yes, you satisfying your needs is part of the elements of security. So these are the diverse things that you do to enrich yourself, keeping the goal, keeping the focus, but you shouldn't also be one line. Yes, you shouldn't also just toe one line or look at the narrow focus. I mean, you're saying all these, and it's just throwing my mind back to how our university setup is. And so you go to uni, and people complain about the fact that, okay, I'm here to do law, okay? Why am I being told to go and learn literature? Why am I being told to go and do performing arts? It's a little bit of everything for you, and so it just
diversifies your experience, so that if you ever find yourself charting a territory that is quite experienced when it comes to one field, then you know, okay, I've learned a little bit on that. You have the basic knowledge on it, and then you develop that to, you know, move into something else. Now,
and you use it to discover your talent.
Exactly.
You never know. Maybe you're a musician at heart, but you're studying law. How would you know if you don't have a diverse background? I was in CCF. It's one of the church groups, and I was in a drama group. And even though I'm not that good at acting, but
you tried.
I tried. Yes, exactly. And some would. Maybe because of that, when I meet the likes of David Donto, I'm able to chat with him more. Yeah. I'm able to discuss certain technical words that I may not have known. So these are all things that help.
It's basically you doing theater in there, right?
Yes, okay. Exactly.
So let me quote. Uncle David Donto was my guest last week. Okay. I don't know if you're aware. And then he mentioned something that is continuing to be valid per day. I mean, every day I wake up, I come across a situation and I tell myself, okay, this man didn't lie. He says, theater is the basis for every profession. It's in everything you do. You act as, I mean, you mentioned it. It's in, you find yourself as part of the folklore board here in Ghana. There's a little bit of theater in there. In you telling the stories, you're a lawyer, you go to court.
Sometimes you have to act upset when you're not.
You equipping yourself with the case, knowing the story, knowing the, I don't know, I'm trying to use the terms, but it's not really coming. The brief, yes. Learning all these things, going to the court to convince the judge to win the case itself is even theater.
Yes.
And
as
so,
I said, sometimes you have to. I remember Yoni Kulendi, when he's making a submission, would turn. He turns. He turns, and it's because he wants to also engage the gallery too, and even just by turning, that's his style. But it also, even the way and the style with which he turns captures the attention of the judge. He used to use proverbs and the likes when he's speaking, and all of these help. And so yes, I agree.
We agree. Now, as a young lawyer, okay, with expertise in intellectual property rights, what weight of responsibility did you encounter? What weight of responsibility did your position at the folklore space put on you? What new things did you have to learn? I'm sure you had to equip yourself with extra things. How challenging was it?
So I run an NGO called the Social Bridge.
Okay.
So yes, I also was a prefect in school and a few leadership positions here and there. But being a leader in a public sector institution is a different ball game. Yes, there are people who have entrenched positions. There are people who are used to certain ways of doing things that I'm young, and then I'm a female, and then you're coming to bring all these changes, shake up things, and you had to learn how to deal with people, but also bring them along. Be stern and firm, but also be nice. So it's not like your employees will go on strike or something. So it's been a wonderful experience. It was a wonderful experience, and I learned how to manage people further. I also learned how to lobby. So even though I couldn't become a professional lobbyist, this job actually made me improve my skills, negotiation skills, because Parliament has to approve certain things. They mention Folklore Board and I'm like, what institution is that? And then you now have to speak with the parliamentarians, if it's one-on-one, or try to convince them as to why the institution should be given the necessary recognition, because we needed you have to, when you charge anything in the public sector, any fees that you have to charge has to be approved and has to be part of the Fees and Charges Act, which was not there when I took office. So I had to lobby for that to be done. It was even passed in an election year, and with an election year there are certain things that are not done as much as with the usual when it's business as usual, but due to lobbying skills, speaking with them, convincing the parliamentarians as to why this should be done, we were successful. So these are some of the things that have been sharpened through my work at the Folklore Board.
I like that. Now, shout out going out to Wasti Medina. Wasti Medina on Facebook says, I'm watching you live from Medina. Nice program. We're learning a lot. Ijoma is with us here. Says, interesting conversations. Let me grab my popcorn. I hope you have it already, Ijoma. Now, in your capacity as, a member of the board, okay, what would you describe as the biggest milestone since you've been in office? Tell us about some of the things that you've done, and in your opinion, the biggest impact.
Okay, so I think, as I said, one, getting the fees into the Fees and Charges Act, that's a big thing.
One.
Yes, because it's now when you need permission, there's a document that shows you that this is how much you pay. And then 2, establishment of the folklore clubs. Yes, so the clubs are in schools. They're to educate children about our cultural heritage, and it's very important because now you see kids, they don't even know what their traditional names are, or what it even means. I'll say, hi, my name is Adjoa. Okay, what does it mean if you're called Adjoa? And they don't know. So these are all things that we are helping kids to understand.
And this leaving goes beyond the kids, so the adults are
exactly
time.
So I was coming to the next one. To get the adults and the youth, we have the Did You Know series. So these are snippets of information, infographics with pictures and very short text telling you about our heritage, interesting things about what we do, and going beyond that, even using it to create wealth. So for instance, we know that with the local huts, do you know it's actually both an air conditioner and also a heater in the a heater or a cooling system. So it becomes, because of the technology or the mud that is used, when it's hot, it's cool inside. And then when it's cold outside, it's actually warm inside. Yes. So this is technology that architects can use to even better develop or create sustainable housing for people. So these are some of the things we educate about. One of the interesting ones is Legon. Do you know what Legon means?
No, please.
Okay, so I don't speak Ghana too well, but Le was a deity. Where Legon was, specifically Legon Hall. And when it came to naming of the places, most people thought that Legon means hill of knowledge, because Gono, when you pronounce it one way, good. So Gono means hill. Yes. So Le too means knowledge.
Okay.
Yes. Depending on the way you pronounce it. But Gono can also mean shrine. Yes, I'm not good at the pronunciation, so please forgive me. So in actual fact, Legon is not hill of knowledge.
It's the shrine of knowledge.
It's the shrine of the shrine of Le.
Okay.
It's the shrine of Le. That's actually
the deity.
The deity.
Okay.
But because Legon, by sheer coincidence, Legon then was situated there. The university was situated there at that time. Most of us think it's just the hill of knowledge, meaning that that's what Legon means, but it actually is.
I went to Legon and I don't know this.
Exactly. So
these are all things you're trying to...
Did You Know series, we educate young people and adults on these interesting tidbits.
Wow. Rasta, there's a lot to learn.
There's so much.
There's so much to really learn. Anyways, now in 2019, for the first time, Ghana celebrated the World Folklore Day with a 3-day program. How would you, how do you describe the impacts of, this celebration on the creative community? And what kind of impact did it have on there?
It had a huge impact, and that was the third thing I was going to mention, that the celebration of World Folklore Day, the biggest was, our debut in 2018.
It was 18, okay.
It was, what does it
19,
say then?
yes.
2019,
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
So in 2019, we had 3-day, very impactful, a huge program. And what we did was to celebrate what is ours. We gave creative artists the opportunity to showcase what is theirs. And we showed the different side of our culture. What we did was showcasing how technology meets folklore. So we had animation, we had people who do virtual cultural tours. We had people using our local materials to create amazing inventions. And these were all things that we showcased. So we had a 3-day event. We had the opening ceremony at the Du Bois Center. We had an exhibition at the National Theatre. And then we had a children's fun folklore day at St. Kizito's School. And it was wonderful. And another thing, or another huge impact that has been made, was this whole Black Panther issue,
which I was going to get to.
So we can get to that, but that's also something that impacted shows the entire world.
You know what? Let's speak about it. Let's actually speak about it. Let's talk about it now. And so we woke up one day. There's a movie that has taken over, the airwaves. Everybody's speaking about it, and we see our Ghana Kente in there. And then everybody's asking, okay, did somebody ask somebody the right permission? Then again, who even knew that there's a folklore board that reserves the right to this? And so you guys stepped in. I mean, after the whole social media frenzy, people were talking about it. What did you exactly do, and what is the state on that? Did you really sue them at Marvel Studios?
So maybe I saw it differently, because people were happy that Kente was used. Yes. I think it was very few people who actually complained. So when the story broke, I received so many insults, because people are like, well, if they are promoting Kente, shouldn't we be happy? But I always use this example. Do you know Hakuna Matata?
Means no worry. I think it's Swahili.
Great. Okay. So you're actually the first person the first interviewer who has said that yes, it's Swahili and it means no worries. Most would say it means no worries, but they remember it's from Lion King. Yes. So Disney has copyrighted Hakuna Matata. So now in certain instances, Kenya, for instance, needs permission
from them
to use a word that is their language.
That is their own.
Exactly. So if we don't protect our Kente now, that's where we could
we'll get to a point where we'll have to go and seek rights
from someone who has decided to register it or the likes. So what we did was, I just granted an interview and I said, we have the right to sue, but we are not going to sue, because as a lawyer, my training is first to try to amicably resolve conflict.
That's the first step.
That's the first step. So what we did was we wrote to them, and they actually responded.
Wow.
And they said that yes, they should have acknowledged us in the movie. I wrote back and said that yes, beyond the acknowledgement, I think we can collaborate. You can produce movies here. We have Anansi. We can do something with Anansi. So that's the stage that we are at.
We are now.
Because unfortunately, COVID hit. And then after COVID, or during COVID, then their main character, Chadwick Boseman, Chadwick too died. He passed. So things stalled a bit. Yes. So now we are at the stage of negotiation as to what exactly Ghana can benefit from the movie. Their use of it in their first, the first part one.
Part one of it.
In part one, and then what is going to be done in the sequel and how we can move further from that. But the fact that they replied means they know that there's something there. Yes. And I was very happy when they replied, because even to get where to send the letter was an issue. Because that's what most of the big multinationals do.
And all this happened under your watch?
Yes, it happened under my watch and with my board, with the support of my board.
I mean, it's a good thing you did. I mean, now that I have the opportunity, you saw the problem in what they did first. You were not blinded by the fact that everybody's saying, okay, now Kente has gone far. It's gone far. But what is the direct impact it's having on us? Did anybody know at the end of the day that this is from Ghana? Was anybody told that this is from Ghana? And then so you pointed that out, and then they did acknowledge the fact that, okay, this is what we were supposed to do. And moving on, you now opened the door and then started speaking to them about other things. I mean, you mentioned one thing that is very brilliant. The Anansi figure from childhood has been the all-knowing figure. I mean, the canon Anansi.
The villain.
Exactly. And so if we can get to a point where better stories can be told, You know, we have a figure of Anansi with his head and whatever figure that he has. You know, our children will learn because now people learn through different means. Exactly. Our children are learning through different means. Maybe they might not have the opportunity to visit our hometown for our grannies to talk to them.
Exactly.
But through our own ways, we can
through
teach
cartoons,
them. Yeah, exactly.
Video games.
Creates the characters, and they have the power to do that. Maybe we cannot do it now. They have the power to do that. One other thing I want to find out from you, beyond Marvel using that, I personally know for sure that there are brands like Off-White, designer brands who are also day in, day out, you know, using Kente designs. They use the Kente pattern, you know, to design their outfits and that. Has there been any efforts to reach out to these people as well? Are they also supposed to come? And then, yes, permission. Because they come and buy, let's say they come and buy the Kente from the Kente weavers in Adjoa. Do they still have to come to you and seek the right to do that?
Yes, so anytime you use it for commercial purposes, beyond what is the customary purpose. So for instance, the Kente weaver in Adjoa, even though he's selling it, it is customary. It is customary usage. So even though it's for sale, he does not need permission. But if a company, a multinational or even a local company is using it for commercial purposes, then they need permission. But the rates are different for local companies. Local companies, it's very little. And then with the international, the multinationals, it's a bit higher. Even for them, it's not high. But it's higher than the local company. So they all need permission. So what we did was we did scouting. So when I came into office, we didn't have that many staff. So what I did was I wrote to the National Service Secretariat and requested for specific NSPs, National Service Personnel, with specific skill sets. So what we did was they did scouting. So they would check the internet, they would check around and see companies that are using it without permission. So initially they had, I think in the books there were about 10 to 15 institutions. Now we have about over 90 institutions that have been identified and are paying. So what we did was, using these institutions, we also wrote to the international institutions. So it's not only Black Panther, it's not only Marvel that we wrote to. We wrote to a lot of institutions. We even wrote to Louis Vuitton and the likes.
Yeah, I think I did see them as well. So you basically just telling them, you know what, there are rights to this. If you need access, talk to us. Let's grant you full access and discuss the things that you're supposed to do.
Exactly, because it's very important. We should benefit from what is ours. And at the international stage, so that's also one of the instrumental things that have been done under during my tenure. So we represented Ghana at WIPO, and the World Intellectual Property Organization is responsible for protection of these rights. So countries come together to bring about laws. I'm putting it very simply: bring about laws to protect certain property rights.
Like, let's say South Africa owns Shaka Zulu.
Exactly. Then they how to protect it. But we're using an international convention so that it cuts across. It's taken a long time, over 10, 15 years. We still haven't arrived at a convention. But by my participation, I was able to, should I say that there was a save for Jollof. So when you look at Jollof, in actual fact, it's from Senegal. It's from Senegal.
I think it's Kenya or Senegal.
No, it's not Kenya.
Senegal, right?
Oh dear, it's by the Wolof people of Senegal, I think.
Okay.
I don't know why my brain has gone blank. I don't know if I'm wrong.
When you
with
remember,
Senegal.
don't worry, it's fine.
So it's by the Wolof people.
Oh, that even makes sense. Wolof, Jollof.
Exactly, Wolof, Jollof. So it's actually their invention. However, we as Ghanaians, Nigerians, have taken it and made it something new. And now we call it Jollof. So I made an intervention.
So I just checked this Senegal.
It's Senegal.
Yes, so you're right.
I'm
Correct. Yes.
So with the intervention I made, and I used Jollof as an example. This is so countries all over the world. It's a UN agency, and I remember when I went for the meeting, everyone was telling me, as a first timer, just get acclimatized with the place, and it can be quite intimidating, but don't worry. I was okay. So when it came to to speak, I just you put up your card. So I put up my card and they said, so Ghana can speak. So I spoke about the fact that, for instance, with Jollof, even though it's from the Wolof people, it was created by them, but we have developed upon it. So we should also still have the rights to Jollof. So we were able to include the word develop to capture the fact that even if you didn't create it, but you added value
you still have rights to it.
You have rights to it. So that's also one instrumental thing that has been done on the world stage too. Now the National Folklore Board is well known, so we've gotten enough visibility that UNESCO has agreed to support us. So things have been
moving.
good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So UNESCO has agreed to support, but what kind of support do you need? Specific support do you need from the creative community here in Ghana to make National Folklore Board the best of its kind?
So I think with the creative industry, and people have been very supportive, but I'm hoping, as you said, I'm hanging up my boots with the Folklore Board. A lot of creative artists had a personal relationship with me, or they would be like, I'm doing this because of you. But I'm hoping that with the structures that have been put in place and with whoever will take over from me, that the creative arts industry will support the person as I was supported. And I think what we also need as creative artists, in everything you do, you should see yourself as an ambassador of our cultural heritage, an ambassador of Ghana. So everything that you put out should have something folkloric in it.
Do you ever have plans of stepping in? Let's say somebody puts out a creative work and it's sort of like misleading. Let's say somebody posts or writes a story about or does a movie. Kumawood, okay, they decide to make a movie about a story that is maybe a story from our people in the north, and they mislead people by putting in wrong info in their creative journey. Do you ever have plans, or you have the jurisdiction to step in and say, okay, you know what, we're putting a ban on this, don't do this, don't do that, you're putting the wrong story out? Does that fall in line with your duties as well?
So we have the legal mandate. You need to come for permission.
Okay.
So if you do not come for permission, our power is not to ban, but the power is that we can take you to court, and then you can be fined, or you can go to jail for for not more than 3 years. So there's a punishment for doing so. We also have a very good relationship with film producers. One of the seasoned film producers, Bob Smith Jr., Diabolo.
Yes, Diabolo.
That's what we
Italian Diabolo.
Yes, Italian Diabolo was part of the board. So what we did was also through him, we were able to educate film producers and the likes. I also used to, I remember Akuna Dake was granting an interview, and he said, that lady at Folklore, she's in your face. Even where she's not, you don't expect her to be, she's there. Yeah. So what I used to do was I would still show up at certain events to educate about our mandate. So these were ways in which we would tell people that you need to come for permission. And it's not about the money. It's about making sure that you don't take the Jinyami symbol and call it Sankofa. That's what's important. Or you don't take Kente and then use it as a floor mat. When imagine a chief entering a room and then the Kente is wearing is what he also steps on. It's not right. So these are some of the things that we want
our heritage
to protect and ensure that what has been passed down to us is protected. We add value, but we add value the right way.
Have the chiefs and traditional leadership been supportive enough? Have they been supportive enough?
Yes, so we have a relationship with the Ministry of Chieftaincy. We communicate with them. We also have individual chiefs who have been very supportive. Nana SKB Asante would come for our events, would support us. We also have the chief of Suma. Yes, Suma chief. They are actually, in history or in the history books, it's still debatable, depends on who you ask, but they are the originators of the Dinkra symbols. They have also been supportive, and there are also a lot of sub-chiefs that we interact with. So it's been great. You also have even reps of the Asante Hine have also been very supportive of what we do.
What legacy are you leaving behind? I mean, now that you prepare to exit, hang your boots, as you said, as acting director for the NFB.
Yes, so since my boots have been hung,
You've been hung already.
I think I can't sit here and say what my legacy has been. And with the legacy, it's the bystander or the third party who can tell me what my legacy was. But I'm hoping it was a good one. At least from what I hear, I think Adjoa, with the support of her board, did a great job, has uplifted the institution and has made the institution known and has impacted the creative arts space.
All right, good one on that. I feel we've said a lot. I mean, it's been just an hour. Anyways.
It's been an hour already.
Yeah, it's been an hour already. That's how we do it. People have done 3 hours on here before. What first comes to mind when you think about women in leadership? We've touched on bits and bit of it, but first thing that crosses your mind when it comes to women and leadership, what must be done? What are we doing as a country? Are we moving forward? Are you seeing a change since you've been in position or you've been in power? Have you seen a growth in the number of women aspiring to be leaders wherever they find themselves?
So I would say the first thing that comes to mind is that it's a jungle. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Because there's so many things. When we say women, most people then just look at the woman in the family sense. But there are women who decide not to get married. There are women who don't have children. There are women who decide they are going to venture into things that men usually do. But we're all boxed into one category, and we are treated based on that. We're treated sometimes fairly, sometimes unfairly based on that. But I always say that men also have their challenges. Yes, and so with whatever you're faced with, what you need to do is to be able to adjust, to make headway. And with women in particular, I keep on saying that when you are given a role, you need to ensure that you show the fact that, okay, besides, even though, so after I got married and then I gave birth, yes, I was still working. I was still going to work. During the campaign season, my son I was breastfeeding.
Wow.
And if you recall, I spoke during the launch of the MPP manifesto. I was a speaker.
Yes.
And what I did was I went to Cape Coast with my son. I didn't say that, so because of my son, I can't do it or I won't be able to. You have to adjust. You have to try and show that even though I'm a woman, I can still do it. We can't do it all, but you have to have a system. You have to, where you have a good support system, it's better. I went with my husband, so I was lucky. But even if you don't have your husband, you need to make it work. You need to try and make it work, and don't use family, children, pregnancy as an excuse. Because you are creating a problem for the next woman. That is how I feel. So don't say, oh, because of so and so I can't do A. If you cannot do it, don't take it up. But as long as you take it up, you need to deliver. It's difficult, but you have to do it. It's not easy at all. During the election petition, my son couldn't sleep without me. So I had to either, when we used to have retreats, we used to go and camp to work. So even at 12 a.m., sometimes we would be working at 12 a.m. I would either drive home or my husband would have to bring my son. So in the night you won't sleep, but I still have to wake up at 8. We'll go and sit down. We're preparing for court, and that's all being done.
That's why you're always in sunshades. That's just on the lighter side.
Yes, that is on the lighter side. But you need to make it work, because if you don't, then the next time when they're constituting the if there's another election petition,
might not include.
And they are adding women, they'll say that, oh, these women, when they come, then they'll use children or family as excuses. So that's our challenge.
It's a jungle.
It's a jungle, but we need to make our way through it.
Now that you've mentioned your involvement in all that, I want to find out, okay, what was the impact on your life, or what kind of impact did your position as spokesperson for the president's legal team during the post-election petition, what impact did it have on you? What kind of doors did it open for you? How did you feel when you were, appointed? I don't know if the right word is appointed, when you got the opportunity to be the spokesperson for the legal team.
I keep on saying it was by divine design, in the sense that so during the election time, I was part of the campaign communications team, and then I spoke during the manifesto launch. Then I was part of another committee that was responsible for, let's say, we were oiling the wheels of the entire election campaigning system. So we were, let's say, a sub-managerial team for the entire campaign for the MPP. And then I, of course, because I'm a lawyer, I was asked to be the link between the legal team and the PMT. And based on that, I then joined the legal team proper, to put it loosely. And one of the members just said, because Adjoa is part of comms, she should also be a spokesperson. I was like, wow, okay. Public speaking is not a problem, but political public speaking is different. So I was happy. It was a challenge, but it was worth it. I'm so happy I did it. As I said, the insults keep coming. The funniest one was when she takes off her makeup, her husband runs away. I laughed so much, and it's just because the person has a different view from what you're saying. So there was a lot. It was an interesting time, and especially when I'm 6 years, this is my 6th year as a lawyer. But Chachuchi Kata, for instance, he's been a lawyer for so many years. On our side, to the lawyers who have been lawyers for so many years, these are the big names in the legal practice. When you mention Frank Davis, Koto Ampao, there are so many big lawyers that were on both sides, and you need to go and either dissect what they say, criticize what has been done in court. You're contributing to the legal work when we meet, and it was such a lovely experience, because even though these are big lawyers, as I mentioned, Frank Davis, Koto Ampao, but when we go to work,
we're all on the same platform.
And they listen. I sometimes, Nanaja, what do you want to say? Okay, then we'll battle it out. Sometimes we call him Uncle Shay, that's Koto Ampao. We can go back and forth on a legal point. Eventually, I could win. But
age didn't matter.
And that's the respect that these individuals have for you. So it was a wonderful experience. It was an eye-opening experience. Then again, the insults come. But it's all part of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, do you get young lawyers coming to you for inspiration? Do they reach out to you? Do you mentor any?
Yes, so I do. So not only young lawyers, but young individuals, female and male. I was very happy when someone sent me a text that I was happy to see you up there, and seeing you up there means that I can also
get there.
Be there. It touched me. She didn't know me, but I think she was in a group that I was also in. So she sent me that text on the side, and it touched me, because you hear such things, but from a total stranger, and just to send such a message out of the blue, I was like, it's heartwarming that I'm doing something right, and I need to keep going to inspire others.
I like that. It's definitely a big ball of inspiration. I mean, guys Her story is inspiring. It gets inspiring as we go. And still waiting for your questions. If you have one for Nana Adjoa, send it through WhatsApp 02022222073. This number ends with 31. Says, hello Nana Adjoa, good morning. That's just a message the person has for you today. Nana, I want you to do a small pledge for me, okay?
Okay.
There's a last question I'll ask you, and pledge that no matter how hard or easy it is, you answer.
Hey, no, this one there, it's not
It's
easy.
not done in
It's
the books
not
of law.
easy.
No, just say yes. It's not something that will kill you. It's something we can
but
handle.
If I
It's
don't
not
know,
giddy giddy.
you
It
know,
won't. It's clean.
the lawyer in me is not allowing me. It's not allowing.
It's not
me
allowing
to
you to say yes.
respond, but I will.
You try. You
I'll
attempt.
do my
You
utmost best.
To try and then answer for us.
To answer for you.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Social Bridge quickly before we wrap up. You mentioned that.
I also wanted to say something. So with
Sure.
women and even politics, and maybe not closing the door to everything. So during Report Hall Week, during one of them, I sold ice cream during the session, and I gave all the profits to now my husband. At that time, we're just good friends.
Besties.
Just besties.
Yes.
And he stood for SRC president. So he is more of a politician than me. But now look at me. I am the one who is the frontline politician. So don't close the door to any opportunity. I was just called to come and be a secretary to the campaign comms team. Before then, I had been doing just politics in the background. Yes, I've been MPP since birth. But what it was just in the background. But I decided to take up the opportunity. And then, so it's good to always don't give up on anything. Yes, as I said, all my profits went into his campaign and he lost. I could have closed the door to any aspect of politics, but I didn't.
You didn't.
So that's one, and now we're here. Yeah, that's also some advice that I'll give to my colleagues.
Your colleagues. I like that. Now, Social Bridge, let's talk about it. What was the initiative about? What inspired you to set it up? And what's the underlying mission of this initiative?
So, street children inspired Social Bridge. I didn't understand why kids were walking on the streets, and then it's like there's nothing being done for them. So I decided that, okay, one Christmas I'm going to share food for them and then have a party for them. So that's how it started. Then I was told, why don't you make it, take it to the next level, establish an NGO, and then you can take up projects and impact lives. So we do free NHS registration for people living on the streets, street hawkers, Kayaye, and then just people who are underprivileged. We also do, during the 2016 elections, we did the No Gidi Gidi campaign, where it was to propagate peace and ensure that people understood that peace is very important. It's more important than your political affiliation and the likes. So these are some of the projects that we've undertaken. We also got funding from Italy to do a documentary on gender. As I said, it's an issue, especially when it comes to women. So what we did was, we have a documentary called Work Knows No Gender. Okay. So it's not about being a female or male. As long as you are competent, you should be given the opportunity. So these are all some of the projects that have come out of the Social Bridge. So it was inspired by street children, but it's gone beyond that.
So far, so good.
It's been great.
Now, how do you mobilize support for this initiative? And in what way, now that we have the opportunity to speak to the masses, in what way do you think the public can also join in to support?
So it's not been easy because people volunteer, some are committed, some are not.
Are not committed.
So it's been a learning curve. Managing people who you pay is different from managing volunteers. It's a totally different thing. With support, you can donate your man hours, or you can donate financially. So with financial support, we are on Facebook, we're on Instagram, or on Twitter, and it's the Social Bridge. So you can visit the page and then you contact us, and then we take it from there.
All right. So I tell you what, on behalf of YFM, our side, we are also helping using this platform to help. So I don't want to use the word donate.
Okay.
We are also going to join in with our man hours, our platform.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Whatever initiative that you have for Social Bridge, just call on us. Personally, I'll use my platforms as well. Use my man hours to support any kind of help that you need. To make sure we get to the destination for Social Bridge. We're available. This is on radio, so everyone can hear and bear witness to what we're doing.
It's a pledge.
Yes, it is a pledge. It is a pledge. Now, for any young person out there willing to join this course, how can they play a part? How do they get in touch?
Yes, so as I said, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So you just go to the Social Bridge, and then you find it. So on Twitter, on Instagram and Twitter, we're Social Bridge. And then on Facebook, it's The Social Bridge.
All right.
Yes.
At this point, I'm going to jump onto our Twitter. I'm taking a few more messages from our WhatsApp as well. If you have a message for Nana Adjoa, she's right here with us. First message in here from Ofuriwa_43 says, Rev, she sounds like a busy woman. What does she do for fun? Please, what do you do for fun?
This question. So right now, what I do for fun is I watch Dede, and I watch Big Brother Africa.
Okay, Dede.
Big Brother Niger. So that's what I do for fun. With Ghana, we really, when we say hanging out, is to eat. So eat and drink. So yes, when time permits to, I hang out with friends. But mostly, you get home, you're so tired that the weekend is more of a, as we call it, Netflix and chill time. Yes, so I catch up on the day. And Nana, then also my big brother Niger.
Nana, you're my sister. Okay. Netflix and chill has a different meaning, so we'll brief you.
It has another meaning. I thought
there's another meaning.
Sit down and watch.
There's an almighty meaning to that. That's on a different side. We are permitted.
The black market meaning.
Yes, there's a black market meaning of Netflix and chill. So for future purposes, just so you don't say it in court.
yes.
And they give the wrong impression.
Offend the judge.
Yes, that one is out. Netflix and chill. Since 2019, the definition of Netflix and chill changed. Yes, I think I'll just send an official memo to that.
Up to date. Yes,
and then
I have to
update you for
I
it.
have to update my urban dictionary.
But do you love music? Do you listen to music? What songs do you like? Do you have any particular artists you pay particular attention to? You love their music?
So I'm not up to date as I used to be. Yes, and
how many years have you missed?
So many. I can't even count.
No busy.
That now I like the song, but I don't even know who sang it.
Okay, so can you sing it?
Ichoke.
Can you sing it?
No, I just know Ichoko. That's all.
So you can't even sing.
I can't even sing 2-3 lines.
The melody.
Just the chorus.
Does it put the headphones on for me, please? Let's see if this is it, and then try and then since if you hear the melody, I'm sure you'll be able to sing along.
He's on this song too.
Yeah, he's on the song with Sefa.
Yes.
Two great artists, doing a good job with that. What are the plans for the future? What is up next for you now that you're hanging your boots? So what are you moving on to?
The future is exciting. I don't know yet. I'm waiting. As I said, I'm a politician. So I'm waiting and ready to serve. You know that the government is being set up, is being constituted. So I'm ready to serve in whichever capacity that the president deems fit and deems I'll be able to contribute to the development of our great nation.
Now that we're wrapping up, what words of encouragement, would you give to young and old people listening to the show now, Ghanaians, non-Ghanaians, everybody at any point in time in their life? What advice would you give them? The Nana Adjoa advice.
Yes, so it seems cliche, but it's what it is. It's whatever you're doing, make an impact. In your small corner, shine as bright as you can. Make an impact. Don't give up. Whatever you're doing, put in your best, and the rewards will be great.
It'll be endless.
Exactly.
So the final question. We've said a lot. Guys, you've heard so much. I have people texting me now, telling me on my private WhatsApp how great a personality you are. The fact that you've been able to achieve so much in your life, and you're still, going on to other bigger things. Please, in which year were you born?
Hey.
That's the last one. That's going to be the last one, and then we'll walk out.
Okay. So
You
you
drop
said
the mic.
I'm
That's when we
very,
drop the
very
mic.
young. Yes, so I'm 31.
Nana
You can
Adjoa is 31
calculate.
years old. 1990.
Exactly. I'm a 1990 baby. The 89 bonds make us feel bad.
The
That
90s
they
baby.
were
It's just
born
a year
in
after.
I know.
In
but
certain cases,
just-
even a few months after.
Yes, but they make us feel bad as though we are so young. They were born in the 80s, yes. But so I'm a 1990 baby.
All right, Nana, thank you so much for joining us, spending time with us on Wiley the Boss series this morning. It's been an interesting journey. I enjoyed every bit of it. To know that we have somebody our age group doing so much for us, representing us. I mean, I can only imagine how the future will look 20, 30 years from now. If God gives us life still, we know a lot of great things will happen, and people like you have started. You know, and so we wish you the very best. YFM is Ghana's #1 youth urban music station, and so we rally behind people like you to make a good impact for the country, and of course represent the youth in high capacities like you're in. And so big ups to you.
Thank you.
Once again,
Thank
our doors
you.
are open. Whenever there's any project you need help on, just call on us. We're there for you.
It's been a pleasure. It's been
All
a
right.
pleasure too.
All right.
Congratulations, you found the one station that plays Ghana's best urban music.
I like to come up with a song on the radio.
YFM.
Listen to YFM 107.9 Accra, 102.5 Kumasi, and 97.9 at Takoradi.
Why?
This nigga bullet, you bandit.